So at Family and Children's Services, at the Human Services Agency, we intervene in cases of child maltreatment, child abuse and neglect. And sometimes because of safety issues, we do need to place kids into another home, at least temporarily, to make sure that they're safe and well cared for. We have a problem in that we have a critical shortage of foster homes, especially in San Francisco and very close to San Francisco. And it's also a very complicated process to get homes approved. So our staff was going out and doing a lot of work and working hard and trying to get this very complicated process done, and then coming back to the office and recording it into a spreadsheet. So we didn't really have the tools that needed to. It was like a 70-column spreadsheet. It was really hard to keep track of all the data. So then we couldn't keep track of getting homes approved, and our staff were frustrated with this, and also the care providers didn't know where they stood in the process.
We did not have a database. We had 8 staff, and each week they took their individual Excel spreadsheets, somebody compiled them into one big Excel spreadsheet, and then they manually counted to figure out how well we were doing in terms of identifying new resource family homes. And it was messy.
Most of our staff got into this field because they really enjoy working with families and engaging with them. But we started noticing that they started getting caught up with the paperwork, and it was really pulling them away from engaging with the families. So we really needed a tool that was going to help them organize.
I have a passion working for this population, and I know a lot of my staff who've come into this also had an exciting idea of supporting these applicants through the approval process. Unfortunately, one of the challenges they encounter a lot is the required amount of time they put in on the paperwork, documentation, following up, making sure that they're in compliance with the state regulations.
I first learned about the Startup in Residency program from a friend who worked in technology, and I was talking about this problem we have with recruiting foster parents, resource families. And they worked at a tech company and went up the chain and emailed them, and then they came back to us and said, oh, well, there's actually this program at the mayor's office and you should consider that. So we put in a proposal for that, and we got partnered with Binti through that process.
I co-founded Binti a few years ago because my sister went through the adoption process, and it's a really difficult, complicated process. And I come from a software background, and I thought of ideas on how great software could improve the adoption process. So we built TurboTax for being approved to adopt, and we now do that in 30 states with private adoption agencies. Then a couple years ago, I began volunteering with foster children in San Francisco as a court-appointed special advocate. And through that experience, I became really interested in getting involved in foster care.
Hey, Felicia, how's it going? Good, how about you? Pretty good.
The problem was we didn't really know how to get started. We'd never worked in government before. Do you just kind of cold email someone in government and ask them that you want to help? So right around this time, as we were thinking about how to get started, one of my friends heard about the Startup in Residence program and forwarded me information about it. And it turns out they had a project proposed by the foster care team that they were looking for help with a software project. We applied for it and got it, and it was a perfect way for us to get involved in government for the first time because it was a 4-month pilot. Our team shadowed their team and understood their processes and challenges and built something really collaboratively with them. We built 3 products for Human Services Agency. The first is a public website where people in the community can learn about fostering a child, adopting a child from foster care, getting all of their questions answered, and they can reach out to the team to learn more. The second is TurboTax for becoming a foster parent. We're replacing physical paperwork with online forms, e-signing. We're trying to make it as user-friendly as possible for people to get through the application. The third product is software for the social workers that are in charge of approving foster parents. So we let them see at a glance all the applicants in the process. We let them do background checks, mark trainings as complete, do the paperwork they need to do, and we pull reports for supervisors. Overall, the social workers estimated that our software saves them 20 to 40% of their time. After doing the pilot with San Francisco through the Startup in Residence program, they served as a reference customer as we began reaching out to other counties. And over the last 6 months, we now have 19 counties working with Binti for our foster care software.
One of the things I really like about Binti and about using technology in this way and about thinking through our processes in this way through the STIR program is it really allows our staff to do more social work, which is what they came into this work to do.
I think with the Startup in Residence program and with Binti, we get an ability to sort of kind of look outside ourselves and rely on experts, in whether it's technology or business processes, to say, hey, we can do this easier, and we can make it easier for our resource families, not only to become foster parents, but also to pursue guardianship path or adoption, and to do it in a way that's slick, accessible, much easier to navigate, much more really client-focused, client-centered.
Looking back at the whole process, we're incredibly grateful to the Startup in Residence program because it was a great way for Binti to get a chance to work with government for the first time. We also loved working with Human Services Agency. Everyone there is smart, passionate, and really fun to work with, and we hope to work with them for a long time.
We will continue to seek out challenges just like the one that Human Services Agency and Binti worked on together during the Startup in Residence program. We believe these are exactly the type of challenges that create the kind of impact that's needed in cities regionally, nationally, and globally through the Startup in Residence program.